recording. And we are live. Welcome back to the RINO podcast. Patreon.com/RINOpod. Only $1 a month. Go sign up today. Just gave the folks over there a little inside scoop on my Race for State Committee. I'm running for Republican State Committee. If you're in Arlington, Burlington, Billerica, Lexington, Woburn, only some precincts in Lexington, but don't worry about it. I'm just saying Lexington.
Why Arlington all the way up to Billerica?
Yeah, it's like a north.
Yeah.
It's like a diagonal coming out of Boston that way.
Yeah. The only reason I say that is because I guess Arlington is so different from Billerica because I have to go up to Billerica to get pool supplies when I work in the summer with a pool. So where I go get all of my pool chemicals and all that jazz. So
yeah. And the voters are different too.
yeah,
Arlington.
It's a wide range of like Lexington and then,
Yeah. Arlington, Lexington, way more liberal. Woburn, definitely more conservative. Burlington, probably in the middle. Billerica, more conservative. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to cue something up. I have not watched this. We need to. Let me just preface that. We are going to get a live reaction from Jeff. All right. So this will be. All right, let's see. Are we frozen? We're frozen. Here we go. Okay. So you and I are frozen on the screen right now because the software sucks, but because I'm sharing this with you. So but they can hear us with the audio. So here we go.
Totally. I thought that was funny that she poked fun at herself.
Good for her for doing that. More Republicans should go on there, Okay. I've seen recently, I don't watch SNL on Saturday night.
Because
there's been no reason to. There's been no reason.
You can't beat 90s Saturday Night Live. Let's start from the beginning.
No, stop. No, we're not. We're no, you millennial, you ridiculous.
No,
millennial.
You can't beat Norm Macdonald making Hillary Clinton jokes left and right on Saturday Night Live and the O.J. Simpson stuff. Like, come on, right?
I mean, that's brilliant. Yeah, of course, but. I don't look. Everybody, you know what? There's the cliched saying. You know what everybody's favorite season of SNL is?
What?
Their senior year of high school.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because that's when you're home and you're watching it, and then you go away to college, and you don't watch it on Saturday nights anymore. Look, I've caught some clips of some skits recently that actually were pretty good. I think they had to have fired a bunch of writers that were off last season, hired new ones. And are going in a less politically, ideologically driven direction. And, because they were going for applause lines and
My thing with culture is that it's funny when you make fun of both sides. Okay. Yeah. So I'm fine with you making fun of Republicans. I'm fine with people making fun of Republicans as long as you make fun of Dems, okay? So when it's you're trying to make this woke point within a joke and it's just it doesn't land well. That's my thing.
Yeah.
And so within this one, you see Nikki Haley getting up there. And of course she's not an actress. We don't need to pretend she is. And her kind of poking fun at Donald Trump. And then her kind of the slavery thing at the end, the thing I should have said the first time, that is relatable to me because she's poking fun at herself. And so, and it makes it seem like she's approachable in a better way than I think before. And also it's nice to see Republicans go on Saturday Night Live because I absolutely hate this push within the Republican Party to create these separate spaces of humor for Republicans. And I think that's fine if you actually do it. With Daily Wire making, was it the Lady Ballers movie?
There was that fine. Movie, the trailer was, there's one guy who's funny out of that group, and he's a comedian, Tyler or something or other, but he's actually funny. But Jeremy Bourne, all these guys, that movie should have
I'm,
been a 2-minute skit. Right, every joke that you're ever going to get out of it could have fit inside a 2 to 4 minute skit, and it was just painfully unfunny. And I don't know who watched it, or
I haven't watched the
but
movie,
I haven't
but I
watched the movie. But the trailer
Republicans.
was like, ooh, it was cringy. How
I think the Republicans should not run from culture and should go
no,
on things like Saturday Night Live. Like
right,
Ted Cruz,
but
you're hilarious, Ted. Go on Saturday Night Live. Like,
I think that could be good if he was willing to poke fun at himself. But
well,
what
he does.
bothers me,
He routinely is. So every single time he goes on Ruthless, like I think that he's genuinely a funny guy. He's
yeah,
personable. People, he can poke fun at himself. Like it's, I think that Republicans shouldn't run from these cultural things, and but you have to do it in smart ways too. Like Nikki Haley going on Saturday Night Live and poking fun at herself, and also at Donald Trump. That to me was funny and relatable. I think that Republicans going on and like it's like John Voight or like the four people that apparently are Republican like celebrities. What was it like? Ted Nugent, who's
Nugent.
Nugent.
You said no, sorry.
Again, classic.
He's so old.
Classic.
He's not like, look, the Republican and conservative celebrities who are openly about their politics are like lower tier celebrities, but
Kid, like,
there's a bunch of secret
I
Republicans that are higher tier, but they can't be more open about their
that is
politics.
actually a very
Yeah,
true
but
thing.
they're secret about it.
People, right? Like a lot of like you can't be an open Republican in Hollywood. They'll blacklist you and you won't get work. So like, I mean, it's like I just wish that like Republicans would like not run from cultural things and like actually go on them. Like Saturday Night Live would be better if if the writers had more of a balance within their writing to make fun of everything, because everything is absurd in our current political and social
It is well, what
happening.
somebody should. I hopefully if you have this, I'll ask this for the audience. If SNL has done several, not just one, but several skits making fun of Joe Biden babbling and babbling and babbling on. Like, not don't give me one example and that's the only example. Like they do the impressions. They have Alec Baldwin and I guess this new cast member on doing Trump all the time. Pretty good Trump impression, good jokes. That's how Trump speaks now.
He
He
gets
goes
Trump's face
he
like
gets Nancy
completely.
Pelosi confused with Nikki Haley, so he goes on like that's funny and it works. Biden is hilariously in the throes of dementia and and it's waiting to be made fun of. But I haven't seen, at least again, I don't watch it, but I figured it would come through on Twitter or YouTube or something like a skit
Right.
that they did. But I don't see any of that. So
Right.
and
Well, I mean,
again,
also Saturday Night Live is probably not as popular as it used to be. Like when in the beginning of the Trump administration, like they were making fun of Trump the entire time. And what was it when Dave Chappelle was on? Do you remember that episode when Dave
mhm.
Chappelle did Saturday Night Live, and they did this skit where it was like the bubble liberals where like they couldn't believe that Donald Trump won, and Dave Chappelle sitting there like, I believe he, I can believe he won, and like did this like little monologue where it was just like, how are you not believing this, you live in a bubble, and
Yeah,
like that's funny to me. Like, you know I think in current culture we're kind of past the huge outrage, right? Like huge mega outrage, and because it's tiresome to be at 11 on a dial all the time.
and that's what woke liberals are. They're always they're fake offended. And so this, on the title of the episode, Shane Gillis has just been asked to host Saturday Night Live. Now, if you
And he,
followed this
yeah,
back in 2019, fall of 2019, Shane was hired for SNL, and I'm personally a huge fan of Shane Gillis. I saw him do stand up. He was on a small little podcast a few years ago. I subscribed to it, like 2 platforms he was on, and he opened up for Dan Soder at Laugh Boston, and I specifically went out to see him, and killed it, just absolutely killed it. He's fantastic on stage. and back then he was not well known. He went out and had a couple of beers, and I got to hang out with him for a few minutes and had a couple of beers and chat
That's
with Shane
awesome.
Gillis. Yeah, it was awesome. Totally friendly guy, down to earth. Helps out his friends. Like he has this whole crew from Philadelphia that he's brought into his universe. I call it, I guess you can call it the Shane Gillis universe, extended universe from his podcast and all these guys coming up who want to be comedians, and they're funny too. And to see him, get SNL, get canceled for something he said, a joke that he said.
I don't even remember what the joke was. What was it?
It was. I mean, it was mildly funny. But it was on his podcast. He was just doing an impression of a racist guy using an Asian voice, and a stereotypically Asian voice, and then this wormy little comedy blogger like got it in the hands of the SNL producers and tried to ruin his career.
That's when like the Hannah Gagne or whatever, the really unfunny like comedy
was around that time, yeah.
Vogue.
Yeah.
And it was like seriously unfunny and like it wasn't
it was designed to lecture you. It was designed to lecture you.
Yeah,
and
they just ended up like screaming at you, and it's just like this isn't funny and I don't enjoy it.
It wasn't even entertaining.
Do progressive liberals just enjoy being yelled at the entire time? Like, I don't enjoy being yelled at. When I am like off the job and going to like a comedy routine, I want to laugh my ass off. Like, I'm paying for this. I want to laugh my ass off. And yeah, like it's just, you get it.
Well, it was around that time, so he got canceled. Like people say that, like, oh, canceling's not real. Like, okay, so he did get canceled. He was on Saturday Night Live. He was going to be a performer on there. Maybe right. Probably right. I assume the performer's also right, from what I understand. So that happens. He goes on, nose to the grindstone, keeps doing stand-up, keeps building his podcast audience, goes on Joe Rogan, becomes like very close friends now with Joe Rogan. He's been on his show a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. Started his own skit show called Gillian Keeves, which is funnier than anything Saturday Night Live has done in the past 10 years. His partner on that, John McKeever.
What's that? Like Kenan Thompson. Like, right? So yeah. Kenan Thompson is like one of the funniest guys that I have ever, like I grew up with all that Nickelodeon. Kenan Thompson and the Kenan and Kel show. Oh my God. Two funny shows. I loved growing up with these guys, but like he's really holding up Saturday Night Live right now as like this anchor of the show. And he, you're going to have to find people that might offend you because sometimes humor is offensive.
It's the writers though. It's been the writers. And there was a couple things on SNL this season when Nate Bargatze hosted and he did this George Washington skit. If I'll send it to you later, I don't time to find it. Absolutely hilarious. Just basic comedy stuff, not trying to make a political point. And then there was one with she's coming out with a movie called Madam Web. Dakota Johnson. Yeah. Don Johnson's daughter. Like, so she did a skit where she goes into the writer's room with these guys and they just roast each other. Like, I saw that come through last week. That was very funny. So clearly something's changed. Something's shifted in the writer's room. They probably got rid of a lot of shit writers there. Hopefully they did. Or at least tamped them down and got better writers because I don't think it's
Let me tell you.
I don't think it's the performers. I think it's the writers that were holding that show back.
If you have an even divide, like an even divide of liberals and Republicans, you can come up with something funny as hell. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like anytime I'm with my liberal friends and I'm the Republican in the room, we have a good time. It's fucking funny. They make fun of themselves. I make fun of myself. We have a great time drinking and doing whatever we're doing. But if you make it an even divide instead of like, we need to be yelled at because it's preachy and being lectured on like, I don't know, like LGBTQT plus, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't want to be lectured with comedy. Like, I don't want that. I want lighthearted fun. That's where I see like Nikki Haley going on Saturday Night Live. And I thought that was a good move. And she made fun of herself and it was relatable. And like, like, I just want more Republicans to confront that culture in better, funnier ways. Like if the issue is that the left tries to cancel you or anything like that, be uncancelable. Like, you don't need to be offensive. There's a difference between being funny and purposely being offensive.
Yeah,
Like, let's
Alex Stein is not funny. He's a hack, right? People who if you watch the show, you probably know who he is. If you don't bother. He's not funny. He does the same. He did the same bit over and over again.
Whatever, Jeff. I watch the podcast, the YouTube podcast, whatever, every so often. Okay, and what they'll do is they'll usually have one conservative guy. They actually have one conservative guy that goes on. He's really good, and when he goes up against Kiko, or Coco or whatever her name is, it's actually a funny podcast. But they've been bringing on like Candace Owens. They bring on Michael Knowles every so often, and I actually like Michael Knowles when he's on this podcast. They brought on Charlie Kirk recently, and I watched Charlie Kirk and I watched the clips from Michael Knowles. Michael Knowles is such a good representation of traditional masculinity on this show because he approaches everything that these ladies say, and it's usually like one normal girl, one conservative girl, 4 OnlyFans girls, and they have like this larger discussion about cultural things, feminism, them going on OnlyFans, or like pro-life, like something political. Okay, and when Michael Knowles goes on,
it's the same. Just pause 1 second. It's the same topic every single show. Like if you've seen one show, you've seen with all the shows.
Yeah, but it's usually got a different group of people.
Different group of people, same topic. Yep.
Right. So like the OnlyFans girls, they usually give the same answer. But like when Michael Knowles goes on that show and he talks about conservative issues, he does it in a very relatable, reasonable way where he's like not like lecturing like any of the women that are on that show. He's very charismatic. And you can tell that he cares about like not winning the debate, but like coming across so it's culturally relevant. Okay.
He also is better with. I've seen some clips of him, just doing his solo thing. Meh.
Charlie Kirk, on the other hand, when watching this clip, he goes, "First, I need you to define what is a woman," and it's like. What do you expect these liberals to do?
You're asking OnlyFans
girls right? Because like they're clearly political women, or they're clearly leftist, like political women. They're clearly liberal, and we're gonna have like some like regurgitated Daily Wire showdown on what is a woman with Charlie Kirk. Like, I don't want to watch that. I also don't think it's really relatable, and it's also like 6 months old of a question right around now. So what's going on? The right needs to like start thinking about who is a positive role model going into the future for culture, right? Like you see Michael Knowles, and that is positivity. I thought he looked and he sounded like he won the argument based on being normal and reasonable.
And then he's more entertaining in that environment. I'll give him that.
And
but there's a lot of there is
harsh and like not relatable, and he looks stiff. And
look, he,
that's
Charlie,
not going to change culture in our direction at all. And I think that needs to be acknowledged.
The whole turning points. What I've seen culturally in the more recent past few years, as opposed to say 2018 to 2021, the past 3 years, there is a shift. People aren't getting canceled anymore. It's like more and more people, brave people, and there's still a lot that are cowardly and won't come out with their actual opinions. But people are like, no, this is my opinion. And we'll get into like a controversial opinion like Elon Musk in a second. But they're like, there's a writer who used to be in Boston who moved out to Arizona, David Bernstein. And he still comment. I follow him on Twitter. He used to be a pretty decent writer in Boston, but he moved out of here, and I don't know. I haven't heard much from him since. But he's like a guy who's stuck in 2014 because they're just apoplectic about what Elon Musk said about immigration the other day. And it's like, okay, we're done here. Meaning people who disagree with the liberal narrative from 10 to 15 years ago are absolutely just going to say it be unapologetic about it, and bring to light the absurdity of what's going on. And so culturally, people aren't getting canceled anymore because they're like, yeah, I agree with you. Like Shane Gillis, that type of thing where somebody brings up an old podcast clip of somebody making a joke that was off color, it wouldn't take place today. I mean, we're 4 years, 5 years away out of that zone. That wouldn't happen now. Nobody cares because they've done it so much, and they're like, oh, God. Because the people that do it are the worst people in the world. They're the worst people in the world. They are not funny. They tried to be entertainers and realize that they have no talent. Somebody like Shane is incredibly talented, does an amazing Trump impression, kills it with a huge Netflix special, writes and creates his own stuff. But you have these people out there that are jealous, and they can't stand him, and their career sucks, and they want to bring down other people. And they have this avenue, this woke avenue that now they've used it so much that it's lost all its cultural
I just
currency.
don't like the current big late night talk shows. They all used to be comedians, right? And I want to say that this really stemmed from Jon Stewart.
I wanted to talk about him. Good point. Yeah.
Seth Meyers kind of sucks too. But Jimmy Fallon I don't think sucks as much because I think that Jimmy Fallon is an actual human being with like issues that he's dealt with in his life, and he's been straightforward about that. Whereas like
Colbert's horrible. Colbert's literally a mouthpiece for the Democratic Party.
Well, the Colbert Show used to be funny, right? Like, I mean, I thought the Colbert Show back in the day was funny because they made fun of both sides pretty equally. Jon Stewart used to make fun of both sides, except when he was on Crossfire that one time with Tucker Carlson. I think that was an inflection point. Who else? The guy that was on the Man Show. I just blanked on his
Jimmy
name
Kimmel.
because, yeah, I fucking hate him too.
Yeah, but again, he just like he pushes a party line that this
he knowingly does. He literally emails Chuck Schumer in order to do that.
Yeah.
We're very aware of what you do. I hate how these guys climbed a ladder. And again, I don't think that Jimmy Fallon really did this, so I don't want to really include him. But he does. He is in that circle where
Fallon is a step away from that. He's not overtly political. Colbert and Kimmel and Myers are.
They climbed the ladder. They climbed the ladder, reached the top, and then closed the door behind them, and then promoted this cancel culture on top of that. So there's all these other comedians who are climbing a ladder, and they used unfair, really standards on these lower comedians that are still probably more funny than they are, to be quite honest, because Jimmy Kimmel was funniest when he was on the Man Show. And maybe the Handsome Man Club thing that he did like 15 years ago, yeah. But he's not funny anymore. Jon Stewart is very much not funny anymore. Apparently he's coming back to the Daily Show because they can't find anybody to replace
it's election season and nobody watches Comedy Central anymore.
That's true. Well, I think that what was it? He tried to build that show on, was it Apple TV?
Oh, that was horrible. It was
very unfunny. It was just not.
It was the Jon Stewart.
The thing is, I commend Jon Stewart for really having the backs of 9/11 responders, and as a political issue. I think that was good. I think the show that you did was very unfunny. It's not funny. When you go against one side, when you literally were the host of the Daily Show, and it was. He's genuinely kind of funny.
He's become very dishonest is what the problem is. And I remember a clip from that Apple show where he did, and it's just where he had on a bunch of people talking about how America was systemically racist. And not one person on there could articulate, a decent, cogent point. It was just white people bad, America bad. And Jon Stewart's nodding along and trying to, do his whole little, I'm clown nose off, clown nose on kind of thing, where he plays stupid to make the political point, but then he thinks he's really smart when he has the upper hand in some little disagreement. He's not funny anymore. He used to be. And he's just dishonest about the thing about what makes comedy work is there's a kernel and a thread of honesty through the joke. That's why you laugh at it. That's why when we make fun of like good jokes about like, oh, white people do this, or I'm not even gonna say like some group joke, but you know what I'm saying? Like there's a kernel of honesty and a thread of honesty through each joke. That's what makes them funny. And when you go from a dishonest and political and liberal or conservative, but it's not mostly liberal point of view, you remove that honesty and the jokes become unfunny because you're what they call it, clapter, not laughter. You're going for the applause. You're not going for the
Right.
laugh because you want people to like you and not instead of making them laugh. And the best performers, comedians or actors, if they go for the laugh, they know what gets the laugh instead of trying to lecture them about things. And by the way, I don't want to be lectured by any entertainer. Okay, you play make believe for a living. You sing songs. You speak somebody else's words in a character that is not real or is not you. I don't give a shit what you think about Israel and Gaza. I don't give a shit what you think about economic policy, Mark Ruffalo. I don't give a you know what I mean? Like I don't care. Just entertain me. And I have to have that approach to it because
I
otherwise I
line.
couldn't watch anything. Like I don't pay
I,
attention to what they say.
I have a, right. I don't pay attention to what they say because I like what their artistic output is. So like Mark Ruffalo's politics fucking suck. And I would straightforwardly say that to him as a person, but I do like his
He's
artistic when he's in movies.
he's a very talented actor. He's a
His
very talented
when
actor.
he played, yeah, what was it, Dark Waters? Was that the one where he was that attorney that went after the big company in West Virginia that was like poisoning the water of this town and everyone was getting cancer?
I remember.
Um,
I remember that movie. I don't remember the title of it.
yeah, he was in it. Great movie. I haven't seen Poor Things yet, and I really want to see it before
Yeah,
Oscars. So,
yeah.
and I heard that he's really good in that movie as well.
All these
Yeah,
people are very talented. Don't get no look.
right,
Sean Penn, and Oliver Stone are immensely talented, but
exactly.
but
Their politics fucking suck. Like
yeah,
and you have to set that aside. Even as Republicans, if I did say that to like another Republican, I'd be like, set aside the politics and enjoy
yeah.
the movie. Like
You're gonna
they're not berating you in the movie. Like, and yes, I disagree that they should be berating you in like I guess press releases or their social media, but like we Republicans can't run from culture, and I think that's my big overarching viewpoint. You can't run from it. You can't separate yourselves from it. You can't run from it. You have to engage it. And so when I see things like, and we talked about this last week, the Taylor Swift stuff and like how like literally the knee jerk reaction was just to completely shit on her. Like I just literally am like, why? Like of all people, she's going after this 6'4" man who is like a good,
yeah.
traditional masculine
Instead
dude.
of the beta male actors that she's dated in the past, she's
Isn't that
clearly
what we want? Like
yeah.
like that's where I was just utterly confused. And I just feel like segments of the right were just crapping on her and it made no
Look,
sense
a
to me.
lot of the
They
people.
look like
d- d-
they're complaining and yelling into the void instead of really engaging culture.
the truth is a lot of the lunatic right, um, and they're on the like the conspiracy theory right. You know, this has a little like it starts with Aaron Rodgers making fun of Travis Kelsey for doing ads for the vaccine.
Yeah.
So then all the little weirdos on the right start developing all these conspiracy theories that Taylor Swift is a psyop. You have retards like Jesse Waters, putting it forward on Fox News. It's a spider web of bullshit that moves forward throughout the internet and gobbled up by dumb people. And all of a sudden, then it's like, oh well, Taylor Swift is a CIA plant. Like, shut the fuck up, you know. Half of it's a troll, but you can tell they're like half serious. They really, I mean, like they kind of believe it, but they're gonna tell you they're just kidding because they know that it sounds insane on some level. These people are just, of course. the problem is the lunatic left gets silenced by the left on the who wants power, but the lunatic right gets elevated because they look ridiculous and they're made to look bad. So Anyway, speaking of which, this is something that crosses the border a little bit. Is what Elon Musk said yesterday on Twitter. Basically, that Biden has thrown open the borders to bring in lots of illegal immigrants, so that it shores up Democratic victory for the decades to come. And the people with the politics of 10 years ago, who are stuck in 2014 and 2015, were just clutching their pearls at this conspiracy theory. And first of all, one, it's not a conspiracy theory. This is an actual strategic point that Democrats have talked about for decades. You can read countless articles in the Wall Street Journal who is pushed forward by business interests who are money donors about bringing in immigrants for cheap labor to help their bottom line.
What is that book? There is a book about this. The Emerging Democratic Majority by Tex.
Yep. Teixeira, Ruy, R-U-Y, Teixeira. Yeah.
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's actually a really smart Democratic strategist, more so than James Carville, in my personal opinion. I think that he picks up on current culture pretty well, and he's been sounding the alarms for the Democrats on a lot of cultural issues. And now you see Biden's approval rating plummet to 37%, which is the lowest of any president except for GWB in the second term. So, with the immigration stuff, yes. So the Democrats really push that people should be able to step on American soil, be allowed in, and then they're able to argue that they should be able to seek asylum. So they'll stay in the country until they have their immigration hearing, in which, because they purposely don't fund immigration courts and judges and all of that, the hearings are like 10 years out and they just eventually stay because of that.
Yep.
They have like the temporary status.
Yep.
I think Elon Musk, when he put all of that stuff out, he was very on point. And the problem the Democrats have is that we can see it now, right? Like their biggest problem is that we now have video of large groups of people crossing the border and Border Patrol having to apprehend them, in which they do so not by, whipping them on horses. That was a huge conspiracy theory that was floated on Twitter. Yeah. That Biden's own DHS found to be untrue, by the way. That was not widely reported afterward. The Dems are promoting this. Like, it's not and I think, who had this really good tweet about it yesterday, and I retweeted it. It was Tony. Shout out to him. Where he said, it's not some conspiracy theorist. And I really wish upper middle class liberals would stop pretending that border issues are always some conspiracy theory. When you see things like the videos at the border of people crossing a dangerous river in order to do this, it is a dangerous situation. And our Border Patrol a lot of the time saves these people from harsh conditions. Mm-hmm. And so we need to take care of this problem. It's something that is governable. Congress can legislate on this. And Democrats finally coming to the table on it because their numbers are so shitty and the polling still is going down, is not good enough. I'm sorry, but you need to come and you need to do more concessions, because this is a problem that your president, Joe Biden, made when he was inaugurated and decided to use his pen to do executive orders to repeal or overturn the good things that Trump did with his executive orders on immigration. Not everything that Trump did was bad. I just want to throw that out there. Some of the policy that he had on immigration was good, like stay in Mexico. That was a very good policy. And they negotiated with Mexico in order for that to be the case. The Biden administration decided to stop doing that. And now we're seeing, and they also campaigned on, we have pretty much an open border. We're open. People are going to listen to that. Yeah. Okay. And so we now have sorry, Jeff, I'm still going.
No, keep going.
We have a massive, huge issue on the border of Mexico and Texas. So you see the state of Texas saying, if the federal government is not going to do their job, we're going to do it for them. That should not be the case, because the federal government is supposed to be handling the border. That is their role. That is their constitutional role. Their constitutional role, and they are not doing it. So now I see Elon Musk putting out tweets, and his tweets are correct.
Mm-hmm. So this is very good points all around. To mention two to piggyback on a couple of things. There's two things I want to mention. One, what we talked about earlier in the episode about the cultural aspects. People stuck in the politics of 10 years ago don't understand what's changed over the past 10 years and still think that Elon Musk saying what he said is something that they can attack him on as promoting some conspiracy theory. No, people are done. Like you said, they clearly see it, and they're going to go, like we're saying on this episode, no, Elon Musk is right. You're wrong. You're a liar. Stop it. We're going to say it openly. And then it loses the attacks that they used 10 years ago, 5 years ago are ineffective anymore because they've used them so much for everything, calling people racist, homophobic, sexist, and all the rest. Like, it just doesn't have any credence anymore. It doesn't take hold because they were lies and slurs to begin with, and now we clearly see the negative effects across the country of what this policy is doing. And here in Massachusetts, we're spending billions on housing, feeding, clothing.
Very state issue and local issue for Jeff and I.
Yeah.
Okay. So while we see in New York City, Eric Adams ring the alarm for the Democrats in New York City. If he's doing that, it's bothering upper middle class liberals in the city. Okay. He doesn't give a fuck about Republicans in New York. Okay. He cares about the liberals that can pick up the phone and call him. Okay. Like, that's what he cares about. Okay. For us, any point of state money that has to pay for this, yeah, that's state money not being able to pay for other things. Okay. So this is pulling money from other, and also Maura Healey asking for federal money in order to take care of these problems, because we have so many towns in the state of Massachusetts that decided to vote to become sanctuary cities. Okay. This is the consequences of these policies. Okay. We are not able to handle these issues, and it is not whatever buzzword you want to say and us talking about it. We're not going to be called that. These are real issues that we're dealing with politically on the local level now. Okay.
And
so whereas Texas is the forefront of it, because if you ever go down to Jeff, have you ever been to Texas?
Have I ever been? I never spent any significant time there. I might have had.
Okay, I do have to say, go to Texas. It's a beautiful state.
Yeah, of course.
And has every single large city, I will say, has its own culture, and it's really, really awesome. Okay. My best friend lives in Austin. I'm going to Austin in 2 weeks. If you ever watch local news in Texas, and this has been the case since I was a child and used to spend time around San Antonio and Smithville, local news talks about immigration and border issues routinely every single day.
Yeah.
Okay. These are things that they have to deal with on a state level, a local issue every single day in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
We are now having to deal with that in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is closer to Canada than it is to Texas and to the southern border of our country. So I need the president of the United States to pick up his, what was Obama's famous line?
I have a pen and I have a phone.
I need Biden to use his pen and his phone to sign executive orders. He will not do it. He's not going to do it. Which is crazy to me, because right now he is sitting at 37% approval, according to the NBC poll that came out this morning. It is a political killer for him.
There's a couple things on this for the politics of it. One, the Boston being a sanctuary city, Mayor Wu being utterly inept and not understanding what the problems that are going to come with this are. Same with Maura Healey. And we're going to continue to attack her on this. Biden does not need Congress. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to just I know Dan Crenshaw was out there talking about a bill putting forward. Like, what's Congress gonna do? Even if they pass a law, Biden can decide not to enforce that law too. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the executive. He has all the authority in the world, the president, to shut down the border, declare a crisis, done. But he's not going to do that. And the Democrats, I'm sorry, but the Republicans falling for this, that there's some bill that can be signed into law that will change the facts on the ground. I'm going to disagree. It is up to executives like Greg Abbott or whatever governors are on the state, are on the border between Mexico and the United States, to stem the tide if they're serious about it. It's not going to be fixed legislatively. It'll just be more money, which will create more of a magnet, which is what Maura Healey wants. She doesn't care about the actual issues. She's just like, all right, just fund it more so we can put more illegal immigrants in local hotels and feed them and clothe them and spend. By the way, those hotels are jacking up the rates for that. It's what,
Why
300 a night, 300 a night per room per.
Yes, it is government money.
Yeah.
Of course, they're going to charge prices. They know that the government will pay it. Like, that's the thing.
No, we're paying it. You and I.
Yes, the taxpayer will have to pay for this, but the government is upfronting the bill and they're paying with it after the fact with our tax money.
Yeah.
Like, again, this is now a local issue for us. Like, it's, and my big thing on this is that how can you, as a liberal, say that Republicans are being awful on this when, like, you and what you believe in is creating more hardline. Also, the footage that's literally coming out of border crossing is creating more hardline immigration restrictionists.
100%.
Than there ever was before. Of course, they're going to be against this.
Yeah.
Because it looks like our border is open.
Yeah.
It relatively is, right? If they step on American soil, they are allowed to claim asylum.
De facto.
And then they'll be here because they'll claim asylum and not have a hearing for a long time. Like that, it's an exploitive system. Like, now we have 8 million people coming in, and that's unsustainable. It is unsustainable.
I know we gotta run, and we've gone pretty long on this episode, but I'm gonna wrap up with one thing. Donald Trump promised the wall and broke that promise. Promised to deport, and he broke that promise. Now we're about to nominate him, and it's gonna be more of the broken promises. So there's really no end in sight.
Well,
and I'm really disappointed because I'm probably gonna based on this. Yeah, I'm gonna vote for him still.
If Donald Trump's elected, like, that looks like it could, there's a possibility of that. Dems are going to be as crazy as they were before. And, they'll be oppositional in that. And that's not good. So, because this is a real issue, like, the border is a real issue. And so it needs to be solved. And you can't just sit there and Democrats be like, well, we gave concessions. The Republicans are not coming to the table now. No. You gave concessions. It's now time to negotiate more. Like,
no, they have to enforce it. Yeah.
Right. And border enforcement of Biden right now needs to be on the table because he's not enforcing the law right now.
So, all right, folks. Thank you for watching us today. Go to patreon.com/RINOpod. Only $1 a month for extra content there. We'll get second episode for extra content for our Patreon subscribers. Like and share it. I'm running for state committee. If you're in Arlington, Billerica, Burlington, Lexington, or Woburn, remember to vote for me on March 5th. Also, you can check out some of the videos I'm going to be putting up, QR codes to help donate, put up a yard sign at your house, all that good stuff. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.